Today, another D1 classic weapon is making its Destiny 2 debut, and that's the Palindrome, a hand cannon that's very well known. It was known for being one of the best available hand cannons in Destiny 1, and I think that holds up in Destiny 2. I don't think this weapon is getting as much attention as I would expect it to get, or I think it deserves. I think this is one of the most underrated or slept on weapons right now of the current metagame. I know a lot of people's attention is on the 120 aggressive hand cannons, and the aggressive hand cannons are really strong. They're consistent, they're versatile because of their range. So I'm aware of how strong those are, but at the same time, the 140 hand cannons still have a better potential time to kill, as well as they are more forgiving for missing shots, so they will not punish you as much and have a wildly higher aim assist value. I think the main reason people aren't using adaptive hand cannons right now compared to the aggressive hand cannons is because there's quite simply not many good adaptive hand cannons that compare to that of the aggressives, especially in the range department, and most importantly in the range department. There are of course some other factors like the 2-tap capability of the 120 RPM archetype, which a lot of people are gravitating towards. However, I think the biggest thing is simply the 140s do not have the range to match the capabilities of the 120s on some lanes, on some maps that tend to make a difference, and they tend to influence what kind of angles you can play and hold. Following the Hawkmoon with its random rolls and capability to really push out its range as well as its catalyst, the Palindrome is now a legendary weapon that gives the adaptive archetype more consistency in addition to its already lethal potential, as well as closes the gap in terms of range capabilities with the 120s more than ever. I'm not saying that 140 RPM hand cannons are outright better than 120s and people are sleeping on that. I'm saying that they're a little underrepresented, and in an ideal team comp, a 120 and a 140 can coexist the majority of the time in the metagame. The problem is right now, again, that there aren't a lot of good 140s, but Palindrome, again, following Hawkmoon, is looking to change that. Early on today, I was fortunate enough to get what I'm going to say is actually a pretty good roll. It has 68 range and 80 stability, which is pretty nice. It has chambered compensator, ricochet rounds, a range masterwork, overflow, and rangefinder. Again, not too shabby for this early on, and I already felt that this weapon was very good, and this isn't even its best potential. With this roll, I had a range of 35 meters before experiencing any sort of damage drop off, and I was no longer able to 3-tap outside of 36 meters. Now, even if this isn't one of the best rolls or best range rolls possible, so far it's not bad, and the range is actually pretty decent. It's not something we haven't seen before, but it's relatively competitive. But enough about my good, maybe not great roll. Let's talk about what the perfect roll is capable of. That's what I'm always interested in. And the perfect roll, in my opinion, uses small bore, ricochet rounds, quick draw, rangefinder, and a range masterwork. If you're not the most ability savvy, you could maybe go for extended barrel to also give you a boost to your recoil direction, just that little nudge from 98 to 100. Or you can even go for full bore to go all in on range, because even with full bore, this weapon will still have 60 stability, which is enough for many. In a previous Hawkmoon God roll video, we determined that small bore is the best overall min-maxed barrel option. But again, don't let that stop you from going all the way into range if you'd like that to better compete with the 120s. With the perks that I mentioned, small bore, ricochet rounds, quick draw, rangefinder, and a range masterwork, this gives Palindrome 75 range, 78 stability, 100 handling because of quick draw. However, if you choose something like Killing Wind instead, that would be 55 handling, 48 reload, 79 aim assist, of course, 14 zoom, 1.4 times modifier, 98 recoil direction, and an 11 bullet mag. That is very high stats. I think this might be the highest combination of points in the 3 cone stats, you know, the influential ones, range, stability, and aim assist, the cone trifecta there. That is really high to have 75, 78, 79. This weapon is barely lacking anything. It's packing. It is definitely packing. And of course, this combination of stats means more forgiving headshots, more accuracy, better stability and recoil control. And what does that mean? More consistent 3-taps. to be able to reach our best potential more consistently, and that does pose a threat to the 120 RPMs as well. But let's not forget there's an adept variant of this weapon, so we don't have to stop at just 75 and 78. We can get 75 range with 81 stability because we're going to get the additional +3 to every other category. More importantly than that, we also can use an adept Icarus grip, which gives us not only Icarus but +5 range. That effectively means we're getting 80 range, 81 stability, and 79 aim assist. Now, of course, let's put on some targeting mods on our helmet. Double hand cannon targeting hypothetically would bring this to 99 aim assist, each mod being +10 each, not factoring in any sort of potential diminishing returns, which I've said I wanted to test for a long time, but I can't bring myself to do it yet. My point here is, again, that Palindrome is packing. It's going to have 80 range, 81 stability, tons of aim assist, because what hand cannon doesn't with those mods, and that is going to make it mega insanely consistent, and it's going to have the range performance. And I haven't even talked about the fact that it just, with quick draw of course, gets to ignore the handling stat. That's just yet another 100 stat to have on your weapon, so it's perfectly snappy and quick and responsive, so that's great. And again, if you want killing wind, well, that's just gonna further double down on your range performance when you happen to get kills. Personally, I like quick draw, but if you really want to maximize on the range, you could use killing wind if you don't mind the kill requirement. This gun is throwing stat points at us, just literally throwing them at us. It has such thick stats, it's insane. This will be a meta hand cannon in my opinion. I think the 120s are definitely staying relevant in the meta, but Palindrome I think will put 140 RPMs on the map and they will coexist more so than currently. The biggest problem with this weapon, and honestly the biggest problem I've had with pretty much every weapon this season, is they have amazing potential in the best case scenario if you happen to get the perfect roll, but getting the roll you actually want feels nearly impossible. We're gonna have to farm Grandmaster Nightfalls in order to get the best version of this weapon, and it has a lot of perks in the pool. It has 6 slots per perk slot in the trait perk slots, and a lot of mag options. I think that's 8 mag options, and we only want one of them, ricochet rounds. And of course that's not counting the barrels and then the masterworks. There's a lot of RNG at play here, and if you win the lottery though, you could have one of the best hand cannons in the game. But that I think is the only reason we're not going to see this more relevant in the metagame. Will people, especially PvP players, go into Grandmaster Nightfalls enough so to get the very best version of this weapon? I'm not sure. When you could just pick up a decent 120 and it is already hitting some really good performance. I know this is kind of going off the rails a bit, but weapons like the Palindrome this season, many weapons this season, are desirable. They have a lot of potential, but it's really hard to get the roll you actually want on these weapons, which might cause me to settle for something like I have, which is a good, maybe not great roll. But the fact of the matter is, for me who's been playing Destiny for so long at least, I want to experience the best version that I know is out there of a weapon to see how it can compete. Again though, it just feels impossible to obtain, like you have to win the lottery right now though. Regardless, the Palindrome at least comes from an activity that you can farm over and over again, and it is more of a common drop. So I think that's the benefit here on the plus side. So this weapon is far more farmable than others. So for that reason, I suggest you get into some Nightfalls, try and get a really great version of this weapon, and I think it should be able to compete better than some might give it credit for, and in a way that we haven't seen until now with 140s. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That's all I have to say on the Palindrome. If you'd like to join the live shitpost, that is my Twitch stream, you can check my link out in the description, twitch.tv/Drewskys. I hope to see you there and hanging out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.